Do all right. Let's see if anyone pops on here. Take a quick moment. If you're joining me, let me know where you're coming from. Doing a impromptu live today, so let me know where you're at if you're watching this, or if you can hear me, or if you can't hear me. If you see nothing, let me know. All right. All right, we've got a minute. We're a minute in, so welcome from Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth, Florida. Very cool. Welcome, guys. Minnesota, awesome. If you're on Facebook, for some reason, it won't let me see your name, so I apologize for that. If you're on YouTube, I can see your name. Very cool. Very interesting. California, what's up, guys? Welcome. So I just want to hop on here, just working today, and had a very interesting conversation with somebody in the state of Colorado. Okay. Now, I've not done anything in Colorado. The reason being is there are some very strict rules in Colorado when it comes to recovering overages. They actually call them overbids in Colorado. And so I just haven't dealt with that state, but somebody got in touch with someone who is owed some funds there from a foreclosure sale, very old foreclosure sale. Way back in 2016 is when this foreclosure happened. So kind of interesting. It's a very old case. And apparently, so Colorado doesn't really have any escheatment periods. And that can be true for a lot of states, guys. So here's kind of the process when it comes to overages, whether they're tax sale overages or mortgage overages. What happens is a tax sale or a foreclosure happens. Home sells for more than what's owed to the county or the bank. There's an overage, right? Depending on the state that property is in, that money is going to go to a few different places, depending on the state. It's either going to be held by the county treasurer's office or the tax commissioners. That's mostly for tax overages. If it's a mortgage overage, it's going to be held by either a trustee, which is usually a law firm that represents a bank, or it'll be held by the court system, okay? And you have to file a claim to the court system. And depending where you're at, there is a statute of limitations, meaning there's a time limit on when you can claim those funds. And if that time limit passes, then those funds are forfeit. They escheat to the government. For example, Texas tax sale overages. You have 2 years to claim your funds. And if you don't claim within those 2 years, that money, those overages go to, I think, the county school fund or something like that. And the county gets to choose what they do with that money. Now, in some states, what happens is if the money is not claimed at the county level, the money then goes to the state Unclaimed Funds Department. Okay. And Colorado is one of those where, if no one claims it at the county level, it goes to the state. A couple other examples of this. My home state of Utah is very much like this, where if you don't file a claim for tax overages or mortgage overages, eventually that money is going to go to the state. And then you can claim it through the state Unclaimed Funds Department. Now, here's the thing. When the money gets to the state level, the laws change, okay? So, and this is why I love to focus on tax overages and mortgage overages held at the county level, okay? And when I say that, I mean being held by a trustee, being held by a court, being held by a tax commissioner or treasurer or something like that. Because those funds are being governed by a specific set of rules and laws. For tax overages, it's property tax law. For mortgage overages, it's going to be foreclosure law. But when that money hits the state level and becomes unclaimed property, that money is now governed by unclaimed property law. And in most states, the laws are very strict on as far as like what you can charge somebody to help them recover funds from the states. And there is no control of the process on your end. Okay. The states do not make it easy to get the money. And here is why. Okay. State treasurers, I actually recently learned this in our last election, because our state treasurer in Utah was being, he was being, how did they put it? They were kind of putting him on a pedestal because he had a lot of experience as an investment banker. Okay. And so his whole job in life is to get a good return on money that he's in charge of. And so with state held funds, the states will invest that money. They will invest that money into whatever their treasurer sees fit, and they will try to garner a return on other people's money that they're holding. Okay. And so you have to think to yourself, okay, if the state is making money by holding other people's money, what incentive do they have to try to give that money back to the people that it's entitled to? Very little incentive, right? Okay. And so when you're trying to recover funds from state agencies, state unclaimed property departments, it can be very difficult, and they will make you jump through as many hoops as they want. And that is why I don't like state unclaimed funds, okay? Because of all the hoops you have to jump through. Is it possible to recover funds? Yes, absolutely. You can do it. I've done it. But it's just an aggravating process. Now, here's the other thing. On your screen, you should probably see kind of a bill. Let's see if I can zoom in here. So this person that I talked to, because they're in Colorado, I wanted to look up the rules and the laws to make sure things were being done properly and make sure that I was aware of anything that might pop up. Okay. And what I discovered is there's actually some very interesting language in the laws, and very important to be aware of these if for whatever reason you are working state unclaimed funds. Okay. Now in Colorado, people do have a right to appoint someone like an agent to help them recover funds. Okay. And then you'll also see right here, there's, agreements to locate reported property, overbids from foreclosure sales, which is what we're dealing with. Now, what this section goes over is it basically just says, hey, an agreement to help somebody recover or assist in recovering funds from, the Unclaimed Funds Department in Colorado. That agreement is not enforceable unless it meets the following criteria. So at least 2 years after the date of transfer. What that means is it's been at least 2 years from when the money went from the county to the state. So the money has to be with the state at least 2 years before you can even bother reaching out to someone or helping them recover funds from the state level. Now, it is an enforceable agreement if the agreement is in writing and signed by the owner. Okay. The agreement describes the property and the date of the foreclosure sale from which the overbid was derived. The agreement sets forth the nature of the services to be provided, and it spells out the compensation to be paid under the terms of the agreement. And that compensation does not exceed. Okay, so here's something to keep in mind. State funds, they will limit you on the percentage you can charge. So in Colorado, you can't charge more than 20% of the amount of the overbid if entered into at least 2 years, but not more than 3 years after the date of transfer, or after the date the funds have been received by the state. Or you can charge 30% of the overbid if the agreement has been entered into more than 3 years after the date of transfer. Okay. And you have to have a disclosure in your fee agreement that says the owner may directly file a claim for property with the administrator, who in Colorado is the state treasurer, without being charged a fee by the administrator. Okay, so you've got to disclose that in your fee agreement. So I actually had to create a specific fee agreement to send to this person for them to review. Okay, so that it has these disclosures. Now, here's the kicker. If you don't have all of this, if your fee agreement doesn't match all of this, like let's say, for example, you had a fee agreement that maybe you bought from, a course, whether it's mine or someone else, like my normal fee agreement would not work with this, okay, because it doesn't have this disclosure, okay? So this is why, again, you have to be aware of these state unclaimed funds, because they can get you. So if your fee agreement doesn't have, say, that disclosure, check this out. A person who induces or attempts to induce another person to enter into an agreement described in this section that does not comply with all requirements of subsection 1, which is what we just read, is guilty of a misdemeanor, and if convicted, shall be punished by imprisonment in the county jail for up to 6 months and a fine of up to $10,000 or both. Crazy, insane, in my opinion. Okay. So again, guys, it is because of these strict rules and these unnecessary regulations that I do not like state unclaimed funds. Okay. So if you're pursuing those or you're learning about those, make sure that you are reading the laws around recovering state unclaimed funds. Make sure you are aware of the requirements, okay, involved. Make sure your paperwork is, good and, up to par and coincides with and just adheres to all of the rules. Otherwise, you might find yourself in some hot water. Okay. So just be aware of that. But it's ironic, right? It's ironic that the state will, if you don't comply with their rules, they could fine you or throw you in jail. But never mind the fact that they can take that money, invest it for their own purposes, receive a return on it, even though it's not their money. And that's perfectly fine. Like, perfectly fine that they do that. Ironic, yeah? I think it's ironic. But hey, I am nobody. Anyway, that's all, guys. I just wanted to share that with you. It's very important that you be aware of the rules and regulations, okay? Here's a good question. How can we tell that the funds are being held on a county level? Great question. Well, if the funds are not being held at the state unclaimed funds department, then they're probably with the county somewhere, okay? So process of elimination. If the funds aren't at the state unclaimed funds department, then they're somewhere else with the county, okay? Again, if funds are being held by court system, trustee representing a bank, so that would be a law firm, okay, a county treasurer, those are examples of funds being held at the county level. Funds being held within the court system, like a district court, circuit court, that would also be county level, okay? So those are the funds that I like to pursue personally. Now, am I open to going after state funds? Yes. In this particular case, I am, because as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this foreclosure happened six years ago, 2016. And so we can actually charge that 30%. And I think the amount, here's the other thing I don't like about surplus funds or state held funds, excuse me. They don't tell you how much is being held at the state. So like all I know is that the money being held at this state for this particular case is over $250, because that's what the state tells me. But by doing some math, we're able to estimate that there's probably a good chunk of change there. Okay. So that's why I'm making an exception in this case. If they choose, like, send them the paperwork, it's on them now, whether they want to have me help them or if they want to do it themselves. But again, they may not want to do it themselves because of some personal reasons that I mentioned in another video. Let's see, what do we got here? That may be why the attorney/recovery company out of Denver has come to Texas looking for mortgage overages here once a month. Their own state is too hard. Yes, I think I know who you're talking about. I've run across that company. If it's the same one that I know of, yes. They're everywhere. I've run into them in a couple different states, so they work in a lot of different areas. Don, tax deeds are the best. I mean, I like tax sale overages, but I also like mortgage overages. I do both. Okay. I like them both as long as their money's being held at the county level. So that's what I pursue. And that's what I teach, how to pursue those. Being able to go after both tax overages and mortgage overages allows you to cast a wider net, so to speak, and work in areas that you may not be able to work in if you only know how to do one or the other. Okay. So I say do both. But that's just me. Arizona, there's a limit of 2,500. Yes. So Arizona doesn't have tax overages, but they do have mortgage overages, and they have a rule saying you can only charge $2,500. There's some loopholes around that. There's some ways to overcome those limitations in Arizona. Okay. You just have to structure the deal a little bit differently. But to answer your question, I believe the 2,500 is after attorney's fees. Okay. So if you're just doing the 2,500, that's your net after attorney's fees. But if you partner with me, we can overcome those limitations. Okay. Hey, Nick, can I do this by myself? Can you do what by yourself? Like claim funds by yourself? I mean, anybody can claim their own funds. In fact, that's something I'd recommend you all do. Go to your state unclaimed funds website. Just go to Google, type in state unclaimed fund or unclaimed property, and type in your name and see if you have any money owed to you. And you can file a claim for any funds that may be owed to you. Now, if you're helping somebody recover funds for them, I strongly encourage that you use an attorney, okay, to file your claims. Why do I encourage that? Number one, saves you time. You do not want to be spending time filling out paperwork and filing claims for people. You want to be busy talking with people and signing people up and then handing off the claim to an attorney to file for you, okay? So attorneys are an investment. They're not an expense in this business. You also want to make sure that they can file. You want to make sure everything's filed correctly, right? You want to make sure the claim is done in accordance with the law, and attorneys help you make sure that everything is done properly, okay? Attorneys also help with the disbursement process, meaning an attorney can receive the funds and then disperse the money in accordance with your agreement with your client. And that can be extremely helpful, extremely beneficial. It also gives you a higher level of trust and credibility. When you tell a client, hey, we use attorneys for our cases and our claims, that gives you a high level of trust and credibility versus just saying, yeah, I'm going to file this claim for you. So you want to just, I don't recommend filing claims for people And if the funds are being held by the courts, you just can't, because that's known as practicing law without a license, and you can get in trouble for that. You don't want to do that. So I hope that answers the question. You can recover your own funds for yourself, and anybody can recover funds for themselves. But if you're doing it on behalf of somebody, strongly recommend you use an attorney. All right. Is there a way to get on a Zoom call with you? I mean, this isn't Zoom, but it's just like Zoom. You're on a call right now with me. So, there you go. You are currently on a Zoom call with me, or a StreamYard call with me. So here we are. You're there, man. Someone else asked, can I jump on a Zoom? You're on it. Here we are. Here you are. All right. Well, cool. I don't see anything else. One-on-one speaking. I mean, yeah, I charge to do one-on-one calls, just so you're aware, and they're not cheap. But yes, if someone wanted to do a one-on-one call with me, and they wanted to pay for it, that's fine. Unfortunately, I don't have time to just jump on one-on-one calls with people, because obviously I'm busy running my business in addition to teaching people. So I just don't have like the resources or the time to like mentor or coach one-on-one. And if I did, it would be extremely expensive. So, but it's available. I mean, people can schedule a one-on-one call if they want. If you want to do that, just shoot me an email, nick@overagesyndicate.com. I can send you a link to my calendar. Are you a millionaire? Define millionaire. So, like, do I have a net worth of $1 million? Have I earned $1 million? Do I have $1 million in the bank? So define millionaire. And I'll tell you, I don't have $1 million cash in the bank. That would be awesome, but I don't. Have I earned $1 million? Yes. Over the course of my career, I've definitely earned over $1 million. Over how many years have I been doing this now? Full time since 2017. So what is that? 6 years. And I started part-time in 2015. So going on 8 years. That's crazy. If I become a student, will I learn everything? Yeah, I teach. So if you're interested in learning from me and how I recover surplus funds, I teach the entire process of how to do it, A to Z, at school.overagecourse.com. So yes. In fact, if you guys want to do like your own due diligence, I'd highly recommend you do that. Like go and see what exactly I teach, and also go and see what results are other people getting who have gone through the program. Okay. Highly recommend that you do that. You can go to school.overagecourse.com. Okay. Hopefully you see it on your screen. So school.overagecourse.com. Okay. You can check out a bunch of testimonials from people that have gone through the program and the results that they've gotten. Okay. And then right here's the course curriculum. Okay. So you can see exactly what I teach you guys before you even buy anything. Okay. You can see everything that's included, all the lessons. So the process is all here. Okay. Here is a process, guys, of recovering surplus funds and generating an income from surplus funds. Okay. Step one is you got to create leads. Okay. You can get lists online and you can build your own lists. Those are the ways of creating leads. And that's covered in section 1. Now, once you've got your leads, You move on to step 2, which is to conduct research. Okay. Conducting research consists of 2 different things: skip tracing, which is finding the people that are owed the money, finding their contact info. Okay. And then you also need to analyze your leads and make sure that there's nobody else entitled to that money. Okay. That's known as lien research, is what I call it. Okay. Just looking and seeing what other debt existed on a property at the time of the auction. Very important to do that. Okay. So that's step 2. Now, once you've researched it, you move to step 3, which is to contact people. Okay. Contact people via phone, text, email, social media, letters, in person, whatever it takes. Okay. That's the most important step, is contacting people. Once you've contacted someone, you got to get an agreement signed with them. Okay. So that's contracting your leads. So here's all the paperwork, all the forms and stuff are included in the course that you can use, as well as finding attorneys and submitting. Okay. So this is 4 and 5, is you contract with your leads and then you profit. Profit is where you submit the claim to your attorney. We go over how to find attorneys to work with and what to do. And then all this other stuff is just extras, bonuses, business principles, how to partner with me on deals. Okay. There's a couple well, not a couple, but state specific modules. How to use my VAs to help you, different ways to earn money while you're learning about overages, 50 state guide. So I have all the laws and rules for all 50 states that can be found right here. Okay. We got a little program to help people, stay in their homes and get paid to do that. So a lot of other stuff. Okay. A lot of stuff included in there. Feel free to go check it out at school.overagecourse.com. Here's all the frequently asked questions and all the different options available for you. So hopefully that answers the question. Yes, you will learn the entire process A to Z, bottom line. Okay. What do you think about the U.S. currency going down and China going up? Will this affect the overages business? No, I don't think that'll affect the overages business at all. So with overages, guys, overages are created as a result of tax sales and foreclosures. Okay. So you have to ask yourself, well, what causes foreclosures? What causes a person to lose a property to a foreclosure or a tax sale? And here's the answer. Okay. There's multiple things, but here's the common reasons. Death. Okay. Someone passes away and their home goes to foreclosure. Divorce. People get divorced. They divide their assets. Sometimes they can't come to terms. They don't, one person wants to sell, one person doesn't, whatever reason. And a home goes to foreclosure. Disaster. Okay. So these are known as the 3 Ds. Disaster could include a multitude of different things. Medical disaster. Somebody goes through a medical crisis. They get get diagnosed with an illness, cancer, something, and they have to make an unfortunate decision. Do I pay my mortgage or do I pay my medical bills so I can continue to live? And I don't know about you, but if I was in that situation, I would probably pay my medical bills. I would choose life over a house. So medical reasons, the loss of a job. Okay. Somebody losing a job causes them to go into foreclosure. So the bottom line is overages and surplus funds will continue to exist as long as people continue to die, get divorced, and have unfortunate things happen to them, whether it's medical, loss of a job, could be a natural disaster. Okay. Addiction is a big one. So that's as long as unless those things go away, I think the overage business will be around for a very long time. So that's my opinion. Will I work with you personally? Yes. When I answer questions in the course, it's me answering them. When I partner with people, it's partnering with me, not somebody else. Okay. So yes, I do work directly with my students. Cool. This is a cool little live. I don't do these very often, but hopefully you guys all learned something today by tuning in. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Hopefully I covered all the questions here. Looks like I did. Right on. Well, cool, guys. I'll post this on YouTube for those that weren't able to join the live. Hopefully you learned something too. And that's it for today, guys. So hope that was valuable. Hope you learned something. Appreciate it. Talk to y'all later. Have an awesome Thursday evening, whatever you're doing. Tomorrow's Friday. And go out and get some deals. Go out and help some people recover their overages, and they get paid to help them. So that's all for today. Thanks, guys.